what it is. How's it going, everybody? Today we're going to be talking about Amsterdam, the newest star-studded cast movie that's come to theaters this weekend. We're going to talk about all the things. We're going to be talking about friendship and interracial relationships and, I don't know, other stuff. Being artistic to a dangerous degree. It's going to be a whole thing. So sit back, relax, grab a snack, grab a beverage, and listen on in to The First Ones to Die.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the First Ones to Die podcast. My name is Jonathan. I hope you guys are all doing well today. We hope you're having a wonderful day, week, month, whatever it may be. Alex, Jerome, how y'all doing today? Alex, how you doing?
I'm good. Just trying to
rock and roll.
That is random. I'm doing good, I guess. I don't know what that was. That kind of
Jerome sounds like he's doing great though.
I see that. Yeah, nothing exciting going on with me right now. It's been a calm week. Well, things were fucked up at work, which was fantastic when you're working in healthcare. But other than that, I'm all good. And I actually think I have my headphones on the wrong ears. So, Jerome, how are you?
I'm good. Doing good. Feeling good. Had a really boring day at work today, but we power through nonetheless. Also, I am riding high because this week it's already all over the internet. She-Hulk, Daredevil, baby. Daredevil's in the game. And he was fantastic. He was great.
Wait, you gotta do a spoiler alert. Now
ain't no spoiler alert. He was literally in the first trailer before the show came out. Everybody
That's
knew
true.
Daredevil was coming. And that was not a spoiler at all. They marketed the show off of, and Daredevil's gonna be there. So everybody knew. We were just waiting for when it was gonna happen. And it happened this week, the episode just for the last episode, which is a little disappointing because I was hoping he'd be in there more, but that's okay because when he was there, he was fantastic. It's sad that the best episode is literally the second to last episode of the show. It's not just because of Daredevil. The writing this episode was really good across the board. She-Hulk was fantastic. Daredevil was fantastic. The plot for the episode was great. The jokes stuck. It was just good all around, 100%. And despite what everybody says, or the naysayers of She-Hulk, Tatiana Maslany is killing it as She-Hulk. I am excited to see her in more stuff as She-Hulk. And the CG is getting better too. You could tell it was the first few episodes, they didn't know what they were doing. The last few episodes, they're like, all right, we finally got it. We figured it out and put it out and fixed it. So it looks good. It looks tight. So I would say for anyone who is still curious enough to watch She-Hulk, I would say wait till next week when the last episode comes out. And you can watch the whole thing, or I guess this upcoming week because it's going to come out Monday. But this upcoming Thursday, watch the whole thing, binge it. I think you'll have a good time. I think the show has ups and downs, but I'm still having fun and stuff. Can't wait for that Daredevil show though. Still think 18 episodes is a lot, but I am excited to see him in his own show. Nonetheless,
That's
It used to not be a lot.
I know it used to not be a lot.
Well, it was always a lot. The original Daredevil seasons were 13 episodes. That was already too long.
I mean, in terms of TV.
Shows, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, but the difference is normally when shows have that many episodes,
they're only 22 minutes long.
Right, not an hour.
Other than that, is there anything else exciting than Daredevil? Is Daredevil's suit normally yellow and red? Is that the comic style actually going on?
In the original comics, his original suit the first time was yellow and red, and then I don't know what happened, but eventually then they just went with the all red look, which Daredevil's had different costumes. He's also had black and red too at one point.
I like the black and red better. This one makes him look kind of, I guess it's the old school style where it's
yeah, they wanted him to look like the old school Daredevil with the yellow and red,
where cowl. It's nobody helped you on making that suit, is clear.
I like that idea though, that he's just blind, so he don't care. He's like, it's like, why are you walking around in a yellow suit? It's yellow. What? I asked for dark green. Well, like,
It's not.
It's not.
Got a very nice gold, and it's a light red too. It's like actually, it looks more like kind of the shirt you're wearing, Jonathan. It's kind of that more red brown going on.
Well, it's more like burgundy and like
Maroon.
mustard yellow. That's the color scheme, more or less.
Which
actually.
mustard yellow is like one of the single worst yellows you can ever like wear on a person. So
Yeah,
that's
like
where
who
it's
wants to be compared to mustard?
Yeah,
Literally,
exactly.
that's the joke in the episode. She's like,
Really?
ketchup and mustard are not the color scheme you should go with for a super
We'll
suit.
see. We all have the same thought. You look like a condiment.
There's a, not to go too far off topic, but there's a run of Daredevil where Daredevil accidentally kills somebody, and the Punisher doesn't think it's an accident. He thinks he did it on purpose. The Punisher's like, hey, welcome to the club where we kill people. All right. And Matt gets beat up, so he gives him one of his shirts because Matt's costume is tore up, so he needs a shirt. And so the Defenders, which is like Iron Fist and Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, all them, they pick up Daredevil. They're like, hey, we heard you killed somebody, man. And we get it. Like, we've all killed somebody. It's kind of messed up. And we just want to know if you're all right. Like, you're going down a dark path. What's happening? And he's like, what are you guys talking about? It was an accident. They're like, well, we're just saying you're wearing a Punisher shirt right now with like a skull on it. We just assumed you were cutting loose. And he's like, I'm blind. I don't know what's on this shirt. I literally just needed a shirt. And I just love that. I'm just like, that's so funny. It's just like, why are you wearing a Punisher shirt? I am? What? Why didn't anyone tell me?
That's fucked up but funny all at the same time. How about you, Jonathan? How's your week going? Hopefully not as fucked up.
I can honestly say not as, I still haven't finished Dahmer yet. Hopefully I'll be able to finish that.
See, I'm scared to watch it.
Night after my show.
The poster terrifies me alone. I don't even want to watch the rest.
It's pretty dramatic, yeah. But the thing is, I always watch TV when I eat. And this is not the best show to do that with.
That's not a good show to do that.
That's
a terrible idea.
That's courageous of you to attempt that.
So I would advise maybe eat and then watch the show would be my or vice versa. Watch the show. No, I think maybe eat and watch the show because it's easier to stomach than eat after you've just watched that. So yeah. Also, I got to go to Access Hollywood this week. I talked to Mario Lopez for a second, so that was fun. That was a highlight.
Nice.
And that's been about it.
Anyone watch the Mario trailer?
I don't want to.
I saw that Nintendo posted like this 40-minute like Super Mario movie something. Like, I have no idea what it was.
It might have been a featurette. They've only released like a teaser trailer, so it's not like you get a lot, but it looks all right. It looks okay. It's well animated. Looks cute. I will give it.
Isn't Chris Pratt playing? Wait, who's playing Mario?
Yeah, Chris Pratt's playing Mario. He does not even. I will give him this. That's the only thing, because when they cast him, I was just like, so I'm assuming we're not doing the voice,
the accent,
and he doesn't, and I'm just like, then why the hell did you hire him?
He's probably just playing Chris Pratt,
supposed to be Italian, basically.
Isn't
I was just like, man, this is.
Isn't he just doing his Chris Pratt normal voice?
Some trash. They should have had him do the Italian, or not him. They should have hired somebody to do the Italian accent. Heck, the Mario voice actor is available. He's alive and very well. He could have just done it.
They're trying to attach star power to this film, but they got one of the worst stars to do it.
And he's going to be Garfield too.
The worst.
He's not. There has nothing but criticism to him. I've not seen one single person be like, "Oh my God, Chris Pratt is going to be Mario." Not a single soul.
See, but that's not because he's a bad celebrity. It's because he's oversaturated. The man's been in tons of projects that he don't need to be in. So they
grabbed the wrong star for this.
And he's going to be Garfield too.
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
he's everywhere.
Why is he now the voice of all our childhood characters? Like, what? who's he gonna be next?
It's him and Ryan Reynolds. Those are the two.
Yeah, but Ryan Reynolds works with he seems to work well with it. Like when he was Pikachu, even though he didn't change his voice, it was like I can see
Ryan Reynolds is another person who's Ryan Reynolds in every single movie. Like, and Chris Pratt, maybe he's not Chris Pratt in every single movie, but voice acting, Chris Pratt is Chris Pratt in every single role he voice acts.
Ryan Reynolds is actually now Deadpool in everything he's in now, so now it's changed.
A little bit, yeah.
He knows that's the character that makes.
That's the character people really want to see. So he's just like, I'll just be Deadpool all the time, 20%.
Works. Chris Pratt is being, at least he's doing a character. Chris Pratt is still not doing a character. He is just himself, and right now he's not very likable.
Which I listened to. There's an interview I think with Vanity Fair. Mila Kunis goes through all of her career, and she just got released a couple days ago, and she talked about Family Guy, and she's like, a lot of people ask me what Meg's voice is, like, do the Meg voice, and she's like, this is it. I'm sorry,
just her voice.
This is the voice. Like, she's like, sometimes I pitch it up a little bit because I'm getting older, but this is it. This is the voice. This is what you're gonna get. Wish Chris Pratt would lean more into that. Like, yeah, this is just the character you're getting.
He's great as Emmett in Lego Movie, and he does but that's because he does like do a higher version of his voice. Like, he definitely gets into a lot.
He changes also the affliction of it too. Like, he's super, super positive, and he keeps that going throughout the whole film.
I'll tell you who is doing a great job though, Jack Black. His Bowser voice is awesome. And it doesn't sound just like Jack Black doing a voice. Like, he is trying to be like a fire breathing dragon, and he's great as Bowser. So if Chris Pratt isn't going to keep me happy and satisfied, at least Jack Black's got my back, which he's like an expert voice actor. He's done tons of cartoons and stuff like that. So he knows how to do it, but he's great as Bowser. And I'm sure his kids love that he gets to play Bowser. But speaking of stars,
yes,
let's talk about this movie.
None of the people who we have talked about so far in this podcast are in this movie.
Are you sure? Are you sure they're not? Because literally every 10 seconds, a new celebrity just pops up in this movie.
The sequel, maybe the sequel. So the movie that we're going to talk about and review today, the movie that we haven't reviewed yet. I still remember our discussion from last week.
I just about to spit out my water because I didn't think you said.
The movie that we're yet to review. I am one day
going to punch you when you do that. It's just going to be one sentence. I either say a word wrong or you correct how I use the past, present, or tense term. And it's just going to be one day, Jerome. I'm going to snap, and I apologize now. It's just how it's going to be. All right, continue, Jonathan.
The movie that we're yet to review is Amsterdam. Released this past weekend. The Amsterdam is about, takes place in the 1930s. Three friends witness a murder, are framed for it, and uncover one of the most outrageous plots in American history. Stars an ensemble cast including Christian Bale, Margot Robbie, John David Washington, Chris Rock, Anya Taylor-Joy, Zoe Saldana, I think she goes by now, Mike Myers, Michael Shannon, Timothy Olyphant, Taylor Swift, Rami Malek, Robert De Niro, and many, 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 many other people. Basically, if this is your first time listening to one of our reviews, what we first do is go through our general thoughts. Did we like the movie? Did we not like it? Were we in between? And then we'll warn you and go into our spoiler section where we'll deep dive into the movie. Now, does anybody have any pressing thoughts on Amsterdam? Who wants to go first? Jerome, you look very pensive. I'll go to you
I'm
first.
just looking at this cast, especially looking at John David Washington's IMDb picture where it looks like he's trying to do his Kanye impression as hard as possible.
Okay.
It's the beard. Which I will say, that was also a weird thing. Seeing him in this movie clean shaven, I was like, who is this man? This is not John David Washington.
He looked a lot younger in the clean shaven, like flashbacks.
But yeah, this movie, I don't know. I'm still trying to process it. I saw my girlfriend the other day, and it's a weird movie because it's like, on one hand, I don't think the performances were bad or that the plot was like awful. I think it got wrapped up in itself of like trying to be this or like, or you know what I thought of the whole time watching this movie? I was like, this feels like what it would be like if someone tried to direct a Coen Brothers movie, but they're not the Coen Brothers, because the way like they do the narration in this movie, how it just bounces from people to people. There's like most of the time the narration is needed because scenes don't explain themselves. You need other people to tell you what's happening. And it's like, this movie is really bad with the with the telling you what's happening instead of showing you what's happening. Yeah. I don't know. It's just, this movie is so weirdly structured. I think it's the pacing is off. And because the pacing's off, it's hard to catch your footing in this movie, because it feels like just when you think you figured it out, something happens, or it'll just like swap over, especially with that flashback where it lands in this movie. It's just it feels like this weird moment where they were just all of a sudden like, oh, right, yeah, we got to explain backstory. Yeah. And they just threw you into this backstory. You're like, holy shit, where are we now? And I like, but at the same time, after like thinking about it, I was like, I don't know where you put that flashback. If you put it in the beginning, it feels so weird how it flows, because the story kind of just doesn't flow right. It just has a lot of pacing issues for me, me personally. That being said, I do think the performances are pretty solid. However, I don't think the ensemble cast was needed. This is reminding me a lot of Invincible Syndrome. This idea of just like, let's get as many celebrities as we can to pump up the marketing of this movie. And it's like, okay, but do we need them to be there? Why is Zoe Saldana in this movie? She's barely in it. She doesn't do it. And when she is there, not that she did a bad job, but nothing she does makes her stand out that any other actors couldn't have done. And it feels weird that there is this ensemble, because I only harp on it because it feels like they're trying to use the ensemble to distract from the fact that the movie just doesn't flow well. Because you're just like, because if you love Zoe Saldana, you'll just be happy to see her. But it's, I don't know. It's just, this movie is, I wasn't really into it. Like after I left the theater, I liked it when I was watching it, and immediately after seeing it, I was like, no, it's pretty okay. The longer I keep thinking about it, the more I keep finding things where I'm like, I don't know if that works. I don't know if this works. Like, I don't know if I'm liking this as much as I did when I first saw it. But the one positive I will give it that I think it does really well is the history. I think it's cool that I'm loving we're getting more content that takes place in this weird nebulous time period just after World War I and just before like all the stuff that's about to start with World War II is happening. Because I think that's a time in history that not a lot of people talk about, but it is a weird time, because there was a time where there was like Nazi sympathizers in America and nobody cared. They were just like, oh, cool, okay, whatever. It's like this political party over in Europe that everybody's into. No, and it's just weird to think about in hindsight now, how many years removed, where you're like, little did you know. So those are my thoughts.
Alex. Oh, Alex.
You're
You okay?
Sorry,
that felt personal a little bit.
my demon came out. Sorry,
get you some water. Get some water.
I know. I need. Alex, how did you enjoy this movie?
Tell us what you thought about the film. I did not like that from either of you. This movie was stupid. It was such a waste of time. And the weird amount of stars in this film for no reason made it stupider. Because it was like, why are you here? And I'm mostly disappointed in Margot Robbie.
Margot Robbie.
Yeah. Margot Robbie, because she has had such a fantastic few films, Like her career has been building. And then she went and did this. Why?
I mean, this reminds me a lot of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood as far as performances from Margot Robbie, where it's like it feels like
yeah, but
just
Once
here.
Upon a Time in Hollywood, it was good.
No, it wasn't.
It was decent enough. This is not. This is not.
Dang, we should have reviewed Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I'm just saying, Once
was
Upon a Time in
decent
Hollywood is just a like, hey, remember the 1970s? It's like, no, because I wasn't there.
I mean, and
that
this was
sounds like
better.
it's just applied to you. Like it applies solely to you.
No, there's more to
Yeah.
it than that, but that's what as much as I'm going to share right now because we're not
This-
reviewing that movie.
It was disappointing, and I'm disappointed in Margot Robbie for doing this film. But it a lot of the stuff was just unneeded, and Christian Bale kept reminding me of what's the actor's name is? I just had it up to make sure I could Adrian Brody. They are looking so
yeah.
similar that a couple times I kept thinking, I'm like, oh, it's Adrian Brody, and I'm like, I would not be surprised if he suddenly popped up too. And
This
then I was
does
like,
seem
oh
like
no,
the type of movie he would
right?
pop up in.
It has a weird like Wes Anderson vibe in there too, where I don't fucking know what's going on. I don't know what's going on entirely. That's where that Wes Anderson, like, it's a little bit quirky, when really you're just weird. Also, there's also a weird amount of incestuous feeling in Wes Anderson films, and he really needs to like go to therapy. That is just
only in one movie in Royal Tenenbaums.
No, there is in a couple of other films. Anyway, this I didn't. Trust me, it's in a couple other films. This movie, it wasn't very good. It didn't have a very strong plot. I'm not sure what it was. I kind of get what it was trying to go for, that like noir style, but in color, and then
very neo-noir.
Yeah, but other than that, I didn't enjoy it at all. I did like Mike Myers. I was surprised to see him, and his acting was still very good quality. How many?
I don't know.
Yeah, because he hasn't been on the scene in a while.
Some of it was good, and some of it I was just like, so we're just doing a character, huh?
For this film, his acting was good.
Granted, he was supposed to be a comedic character, I feel like. So
he's always a comedic character. He's always a comedic character. I will say Mike Myers, I haven't seen him in a while. That one I was more genuinely surprised and been like, hey. And he was Paul Canterbury.
What was the last thing he was in before this?
Last thing I remember was in Bohemian Rhapsody.
He was actually in
that's
this,
what
like,
the last thing I saw him in.
Or show on Netflix. With not Michael Peele. Who was his writing partner for a long time?
Michael Key.
Yeah, he's with him in this like weird film or show. I'm not even sure. Netflix was doing like this weird thing for a minute with all these sci-fi shows.
the Pentaverate. I didn't watch that.
But I watched like the first half an hour, and I was utterly and completely lost with that film too. But Mike Myers, I will give him credit for this film. And I will say, John David Washington, he was very good in this film. He did hold his own, and with what he was given, I think he did actually do very well in his acting choices. But yeah, this is not a movie I want to go back to ever. What about you, Jonathan?
So last week we took a dip with Hocus Pocus. But this week we're back, baby, because
yeah, I'm about to say what you gotta get Hocus Pocus too.
You gotta get Hocus. In terms of my own person. But you like in Amsterdam. Now I'm questioning what you do.
Don't worry, Alex. Amsterdam, I'm sure it's gonna be another Malcolm and Marie for him.
No,
it's gonna be all right.
I'm not I haven't told you my grade yet. I gave Malcolm and Marie an A+.
And now dropped down to a D.
I have not told you my grade for this movie yet, but I had a fun time with this movie. What had drawn me to it was the ensemble cast, and I'm assuming that's probably the reason why they decided to go with an ensemble cast for the marketing pull and to attract audiences. I don't think it's working because apparently this movie is bombing right now. But
I mean, I barely knew it was coming out. I honestly forgot until I checked our calendar and I was like, oh yeah, Amsterdam's coming.
Mm-hmm. But I had a fun time with this movie. The main thing that I take away from this film is the style, the visuals, the production design was so amazing to me. I really liked, especially in like the first half of the movie, how well everyone was lit. Just like, and you guys have mentioned like different directors like Wes Anderson. It gave me kind of that feel with the style. Um, but I really liked, everyone just looked very beautiful in this movie. Like, like everyone looked, even though like you had people with wounds and stuff from the war, like everyone looked very attractive on screen. Like when you
I will say that I will give you that the costume design also was beautiful. It was very well done, and I did like
And makeup.
every
Like
yeah
those scars look great. They look
yeah,
pretty awesome.
okay.
yeah.
So I will give you that.
I noticed when they would introduce somebody that it would usually be in a close-up, and that was like and they would be of course in like amazing lighting and everything. The setting, I thought the setting was great. Also, uh, shout out to Timothy Oliphant because I did not realize that that was him until the credits rolled and it said Timothy Oliphant. Like, I think he did a great job in his role.
As who?
He was the bad guy.
Aaron Melfax?
Yeah, the guy who put.
Oh,
We won't.
Yeah, I didn't recognize.
Wait, hold
either.
it, Jonathan.
Yeah, we'll get into it in spoilers, but yeah, I thought it was fun. I can definitely see your guys' points with in terms of like the overall story. But I don't know. I had a fun time with it. It was just one of those movies that I felt like I gravitated towards. Maybe I'm a sucker for the ensemble cast and I'm like, okay, I know these people, so I gotta rock with them. But I had a fun time with it. And I feel like the visuals play a major part of that. The production design was on point for me. I was like, at one point you could take a photo, like a screenshot of many of the different scenes in the movie and you could like hang them up and it would be artwork. So yeah, that's kind of what was going into my thoughts during watching the movie.
Well, I still say it does go back to the noir feel of it because noir films had that like close up like glam shot where it does give them like this view of like why they would be important and like the beautiness of them, and it I don't want to say exaggerates, but it amplifies the beautiness of their character. Beautiness is not a word.
The beauty.
Yeah. The beauty of their character, yes. And I did like that and appreciate that they did the noir feel so well in this film. Because I have watched movies where they attempted it and it doesn't look right, especially with like color film. Because one of the cool things with black and white noir is that the lighting is able to give you such, dimension and focus on certain features. And that's really well done in black and white, I feel like they have to play off the shadowing a lot. With color films, you get focused on like, is the orange too vibrant? Is that gonna pale out the person in the shot, or all this other stuff? But this did it well. Mm-hmm. This allowed total focal on the face, and the makeup again focused on the proper features to make that noir film feel.
Also, the audience I was in, I feel like this is going to be a recurring theme.
I swear to God, why?
They did.
Why did
they clapped. They clapped at the end of the movie
because of T Swizzle. Yeah, T Swizzle's around. They're gonna clap regardless because
okay,
the loves her again.
Well, speaking of T Swizzle, should we get into spoilers?
I do love T Swizzle.
All right, it's our spoiler section. So if this is where you're gonna hop off, go ahead and watch the movie and then come back to hear all our thoughts on the film. You can follow us at The First Ones to Die on all our platforms, and we will catch you guys later. Give us 5 stars on your platform, on your podcast platform. And yeah. So
Yeah, when T Sweezy showed up, I was just like, first of all, why are you here? Secondly, what? Like, wait.
Did you know she was going to be in the movie?
No, because I honestly forgot the cast list. So literally every single person who showed up, I don't know if if my girlfriend could like hear me, but I was just like, what? Just every time, because I forgot who was in this cast past John David Washington.
It would usually
Christian Bale
be
and Margot Robbie,
and like sometimes they would reveal somebody like, oh hey, and
hello.
like
Hey.
Because like Robert, especially Robert De Niro, when they're just like, yeah, like, oh, Bill so and so. I was like, Bill Dillenbeck or whatever. I was like, okay, who is he?
Gil
Gillenbeck.
Gil
Dillenbeck.
Gil Dillenbeck.
There we go.
Which Dylan Beck could be a name.
Yeah.
Like Dylan Beck. Anyway.
But when she,
that sounds
when
more like
she,
Dill and Beck, like two.
Oh,
people.
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, Dill. Sorry.
who the hell is named Dill outside of the cartoon character? Because I know y'all gonna mention Rugrats.
Yeah. He counts.
He's not a real person.
I feel like Dill could be a nickname for Dylan.
Probably. That's true. But it's just like,
anyway.
like Taylor Swift was the one. Although I will give her this, she has the most shocking moment in the damn movie, because I was not expecting her to get ran over like that. I was like, damn, you gonna do her like that? That's
like,
T Swift.
They really did. They're like, all right, we're gonna take her out of the film. How? Just take her out.
All right, Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift fans, she's gonna be in this movie. She's gonna be in this awesome movie. Come on to the theater. Come support. She gets run over 15 minutes into the movie.
They should not have done that though, because now the Taylor Swift haters have a clip to use for all their memes. It's like, oh, Taylor Swift put out another album. Get your ass in there.
Because they like really show it too. It's not like,
yeah, you
like,
see it.
Not like they're like, oh, you
like
see her fall
screen.
and then you hear the train. No, like I'm impressed by the impact style they went with. They're like,
yeah, the CG
we want you
was
to know.
solid. You
they want you to know.
I was like, I gotta make sure Taylor Swift's okay. Like
it's like a Blair Witch moment. Is she actually still alive? When's the last time somebody saw her Instagram?
It's okay. Those are stunt tires. They are right. They just rolled over her body a little bit.
Oh yeah, we're worried about the tires.
They didn't crush her bones or nothing. But it was, I mean, I remember, because literally the whole theater was shook when that happened. They're like, oh my God.
Even I went like, even when I went like, oh, because I was shocked by like just the sight of it. One, just the sight of it. And two, I'm like, oh wow, I guess Taylor Swift really is not going to be in the, okay. So they're just taking out the
violence in this movie is like shot, because there's also that moment where Margot Robbie, I mean, it's a hallucination, but when she shoots Rami Malek and
that was another one when I jumped.
What's going on?
Yeah, they did not, which is weird that they didn't hold back from the graphic or the gore from this film, but it was never like out of place. They used the gore where the scene was. They never just like all of a sudden there's like a bloody moment out of nowhere. So they did use the gore appropriately. I was still not prepared for the gore from this film. I was like, oh, you're really showing stuff. Okay.
Well, luckily Taylor Swift didn't turn into like, because it wasn't a Quentin Tarantino film, so she didn't turn into a burst of tomato sauce the second she got ran over.
She got ran over.
She just got ran over. It's just her crumpled up body was still underneath the car. But at least like it didn't just they didn't get sprayed and hosed down with as much red Kool-Aid as they could find.
You know who I was surprised to see in this film? Chris Rock.
Yeah, well, he was in the trailer too. I forgot he was in the trailer.
I didn't watch any of the trailers. I pulled a Jonathan. I didn't watch, even though we were gonna like review. I'm like, I didn't look at this cast.
I was forced to watch the trailer.
Like I watched the trailer a long time ago, so I remember that scene, because that scene is the first scene in the trailer, is them talking over the body and Chris Rock shows up.
I was forced to watch the trailer when I watched what did we talk about 2 weeks ago?
I don't remember, man.
Woman King.
Oh, Woman King. They had the trailer. Wait,
the Woman King. Okay. Anyway, I'm sorry. I promise I will not do the African accent when we review Black Panther. Because out of respect for Chadwick Boseman.
I don't believe your lies.
But yeah, Chris Rock actually did a pretty decent. I mean, he's not in the movie much, but when he's there, he has presence. He's gotten a lot better. Because I remember when he first started acting, he was like not really good. He was good at being himself, but he wasn't good at like really emoting and being just a character. I think now he's like, especially after Fargo, like he's gotten a lot better.
He does play sort of a comedic relief character as well. Some of his stuff is comedic, but it's also like the role of like, damn, the white man. That's kind of his role.
That was funny when he's just like, it's like a white woman like is now in here. We all finna die. You know that, right?
I respected him at that moment. But yeah, I didn't know he was gonna be. I didn't know anybody was gonna be in this film. Because it's not that I actively avoided it. I just really did not see any trailers for this movie, so I was a little like, oh, I came in there fresh. So all these actors were like, oh, that's another surprise. I mean, I will give credit. They all did their job pretty solid. Mm-hmm. None of them like hammed it up a lot or anything like that. They were all very professional in this film. It's just kind of hard because this film was ridiculous.
It's just because that's what I mean by like, I don't think anyone did a bad job, so I'm not gonna say that. I just don't feel like it needed to be as star-studded as it did given the script. If you put as much time and effort in the script as you had in trying to find these people and cast them, I feel like we would have an A+ movie on our hands. Because I will tell you who the person who I think though did the best, at least she made me laugh the most, was Anya Taylor-Joy. I have never seen Anya Taylor-Joy do a role like this, and she killed it. She was great in this movie.
That's what I was thinking as well. Like, she usually plays the hero, but in this, she was just like the snarky, mean girl, and it was fun to watch.
Well, she's done that kind of before because she did it in New Mutants as Magic, but in that script didn't really give her a lot to chew on. I feel like this one gave her a lot more to work with as an actress, and she just like owned it. She did a great job. Her scenes with Robert De Niro are my favorite.
Like, yeah. She's gonna be in the new Super Mario movie. She's Princess Peach.
Oh
yeah, really? She is. Yeah.
That movie's gonna be another star-studded thing that's just gonna mess.
For real.
Probably. But I do respect, just to talk about the plot a little bit, I do respect this movie's message though, and I think it comes out, I think it doesn't come out necessarily at like the most perfect time. I don't think like it's like coming out during the time of like something crazy is happening or whatever, but I do think it is cool that it came out during this time. I think the message in it is timeless, and I think it's great to that we have a movie that is, and I'm sure that the messaging in it and the script, I think, is probably what got a lot of these people to be in this movie, because you got a lot of people of color in this movie. You got a lot of representation in this movie, and like not just in like the the casting, but also in the script of what the story is about. The idea that it's like, we don't get a lot of stories that talk about interracial relationships, especially not during that time period, where this is way before the civil rights movement, just after World War I. Like, it was still, you still have Black soldiers coming back to an America that hated them, which is why in World War II, it was reported that like you had certain countries, I think especially Japan, was spreading out pamphlets to Black soldiers from America, like, why are you fighting us? You're fighting for a country that hates you. Like, if anything, you should leave. We have no beef with you. But it's like, and it was true. It's like it's true. Why are we here? Like, and so it's cool that this movie really touches on that. It touches on kind of the weird, because there are a lot of Black soldiers that did stay in Europe after World War I, because they're like, here I'm just a person. They don't look at me and see a nigger or see like or just see a Black man in general. They just see a regular guy. And that's cool. That I think the movie could have done better at touching on it. But I do respect the movie for trying to like touch on it, because a lot of movies don't as of late. We haven't gotten a lot of films that have talked about that time period, the impact it had on people of color at that time, especially people who are in interracial relationships, because there were some. So,
and it goes to show the relationship between, Black or people of color who were fighting after they had fought, and the medical field, because they weren't able to get the care that they needed or deserved after fighting in the war, when they had fought for the country. And I feel like that's a message that definitely resonates today, because there are a lot of people who come back from war and they're either mentally or physically like hurt, and they don't get that care that they need. I feel like nowadays more so like mentally, like there's a lot of PTSD that goes that people carry with them after they go to war or something similar. And I think nowadays we're starting to, recognize and prioritize mental health, especially for people who fought a lot more, but it's still a process, I think.
I agree with that. And as somebody who's had to deal with the VA before, I one of my proudest moments is saying I annoyed the VA into giving me medical records to help somebody who, fought in wars for us and everything like that. And I still hold that strongly, that I annoyed the VA. But yeah, you can see it's I will agree that a lot of the messages in this film do mimic that of today. And I will agree that this was set in a weird time period. More movies are talking about the time periods after World War I, and also bringing more to light America's involvement in World War I. We all like to think we're the heroes, or all that, but we were heavily involved in the creation of World War II as well. And this talking more in this time period is a good way to help kind of see that, because people are influenced by film so much, just like with the Jeffrey Dahmer series. So many people did not know who he was. That disturbs me that they did it, and they're like, "Oh my god, now I'm hearing him referenced all throughout music and TV and stuff." It's like, he is one of the most notorious serial killers in America, and the fact that you didn't know it is disturbing to me as well. Um, yeah, and you're right. All the actors did do well with the script they were given. I never felt like any of the actors were behaving, kind of going back to Don't Worry Darling, where you could see that the conflict bled onto the screen. None of that happened with this film. All the actors were very professional. They did their characters very well. They presented them very well. They did.
There was chemistry.
There was chemistry, especially between Margot Robbie and John David Washington. They felt like they could be a real couple, and I did like that interracial couple that was presented for that time period. No, it was I think the actors were not to blame for this film at all. It was solely what they were trying to do with this film and the flow that they were trying to have, because it kept getting choppy at times.
Yeah. Well, even just with plot point elements, because you're looking at like his wife, the whole wife thing was choppy in and of itself. Because like by the time we hit the end of the movie, we're supposed to feel triumphant that he finally is like, yeah, you know what? I'm leaving you. And I'm like, okay, but we haven't gotten many scenes with this woman. And the ones we have, like, it feels like a very surface level, like she's the she's a bad wife. And that's it. We don't get much like, and I'm sure the movie's defense is trying to be like, she's a rich, spoiled brat who cares about status more than she does her husband. That's the point. But I'm just like, I don't know. That just feels very, I mean, it's not like we haven't seen that in so many other movies done way better than like, and it's weird. It feels very like half baked to the way they did it in this movie compared to other movies that have done the like, high status significant other who cares more. Heck, Smile did that better.
I haven't watched that yet. Careful.
I'm just saying, like that one has a significant other who's you're not sure if it's because they're a bad person or if it's because they're just on a different wavelength. Like if you look at it from their perspective, and that movie adds some nuance to that relationship. Not too much because it's a horror movie and we got to focus on this one main character, but enough that you actually start asking some questions. Here, there are no questions to ask because you like it only gives you very little of their relationship past that. And the little bit it could give you, it tells you because he has a whole scene where he's like, did I ever tell you how me and my wife met? I'm like, this is a cool story and Christian Bale is doing a great job selling it. But you know what would be better is if we saw it, even in visuals, like even without dialogue, just if we saw his reaction the first time he saw this woman.
Yeah, what played into more of like the sourness he suddenly was feeling, or the sourness he was presenting towards his marriage, at least. It wasn't like he presented it towards his wife, it was more like to the actual marriage. Because he never, in his words, he never like demonized her or be like, oh yeah, she's awful, she's abusive, or she's even spoiled brat. It was more the marriage and the social structure of that marriage that was within that time frame. So it's like, oh, okay, you guys met, that was sweet and cute, and then like it turned into like this more of a appearance than anything. Yeah, like the flashback scene also was a little weird when they go back to how the three of them met.
Because it speeds through their whole relationship. Like you see them like dance and stuff, but it doesn't, there's never a scene where you really get to see them just talk as friends. No stakes, no violence. It's just, hey, we're just hanging out. So you get to kind of feel the friendship. It just feels like it's three people. For me personally,
I almost wish it would have gone in order rather than doing a flashback.
Yeah, I think
like,
it would have been better.
Start at how the friendship was formed, which for a second, did anybody else think that it was seeming like a throuple situation?
For a while, I was thinking that. I was just like, I'm sorry, are y'all like...
I did. I was and then I realized I'm frozen. You'll hear it in the audio when you're editing later.
Okay.
But yeah, I did think that. I did think that for a second, anyway.
Their relationship's also a good show of like how a traumatic situation can bond three unique individuals.
Yeah,
as well, because she was taking care of these two men who had been so gravely injured, especially Christian Bale's character. Like the man was like shot in the eye, by the eye,
in the eye,
right?
Yeah.
Or wait,
or he got shrapnel in the eye.
He got something going on with his eye, but he still had his eye, right?
Which also
he lost his eye, so he had a glass eye.
He had a glass eye, but it was very like realistic looking. It was like the best glass eye.
He got shrapnel in his face and back.
Which props to Christian Bale, because I think he was doing all those eye movements himself, like and that was very impressive to me.
I mean, the man's a dedicated actor, right? The man will get fat for a role. He's like,
or skinny.
He's like, hey Christian, we got a fat suit for you right here. Fat suit. Like, give me some cake immediately. Like, and plenty of Crisco. Put it and give me some fried chicken.
I know, right? I was like, I wouldn't mind some cake.
I know.
But yeah, Christian Bale is a very good actor.
Christian Bale quote: "Get me some cake."
But he still looks so much like Adrian Brody to me during this entire film.
That's just because you're thinking of Were you thinking of The Pianist the entire time?
I haven't seen that film.
Oh, you haven't seen? Oh, it's so good. It's one of Adrian Brody's best movies. But it takes place in World War II, though, not World War One. But that is the closest I like when you said Adrian Brody. That's the first movie I thought of because I was like, they have a similar look.
I might have seen
clean shaven in that movie.
Oh well, no, then like it was the beard, and I think that was just covering up most. It made his face almost look more. Beards tend to also make people's face look fuller. With Christian Bale, it made his face look more narrow for some reason. And
I think they also did some makeup to make him look gaunt, like a lot older.
Yeah, and I think that's just what mimicked Adrian Brody. Is just Adrian Brody does have a long face and very sharp angles, and so does Christian Bale a bit. But yeah, this like what we were saying with the lessons. This is also a good scene or a good film to show how three individuals can bond over a traumatic experience, something like war and something like healing in hospital care and taking care of these two individuals the way Margot Robbie's character did. And again, it fell flat because they did it in a weird ass way with this short flashback when that could have been such a good like first act.
Yeah.
You know what this movie needed to do? It needed to split into chapters. I think that would have helped focus up the story a little bit.
And like that's where it gets Wes Anderson. And that's where you get Wes
Anderson.
Anderson.
It would have been very Wes Anderson, but I mean, at that point, they're already mimicking Coen Brothers and Wes Anderson movies already with this film. So you might as well go the full mile and just make the movie have chapters, because at least then I know where I'm at. I need to give it time. Because literally, just like that. I'll tell you the perfect scene where I was like, what is going on in this movie? And I checked out for a few minutes, is when we have that whole scene with Christian Bale where he's like, where's Harold? Harold's supposed to be here. Then the detectives come and they don't do anything. And then he has a whole scene with Zoe Saldana. And then his wife, for some reason, shows up out of nowhere, smacks him in the face. Then they have a scene. Then we go and find, and then we go after that. Then he goes to talk to the detectives again. Then he passes out. Then he wakes up and he goes to see Harold. And we find out that Harold and Valerie have had a whole other adventure that we have not seen. While we've been wasting time on these scenes that realistically don't matter in the grand scheme of the scope of the story. And then then it's like, okay, now we're gonna get a backstory because Harold's like, yeah, we had this whole thing, me and Valerie, trust me, I know I was late, but don't worry, we had a whole thing going on. And I'm like, okay, cool, we're gonna get the story. And then they're like, but later. And then they go to a whole other location to the hotel to meet Mike Myers and Michael Shannon before they tell us the story. And I was like, what is going on in this movie? Why are you rearranging it this way? This is weird. And it doesn't make sense.
Anybody else kind of laugh at the slap? Because when she, like, it was like full force and everything. But the whole thing was just very like comedic style. Like,
and he barely reacted. But he had a red mark on his face though for the next like 8 hours.
Yeah, like she
hit him hard.
She winded up. She was like back here.
Listen, she gave him one of those slaps where you don't react immediately because you're still trying to process it. If it even
that you got slapped.
Yeah, you're still like. Did I get slapped? My face hurt for some reason. What the hell just happened to me?
It was more so at the end of the film. He's suddenly like, oh. But also she like winded up, went to smack him, and like he barely moves. It's like that was clearly such an acting slap.
That's because he was still in shock. He was still trying to process what lie to tell his wife of why he's got this beautiful woman in his office.
You have that strong. That's when you still have that strong of a wind up. You're gonna move a little bit.
Although it did make me laugh. Like I did think of it when she smacked him. She's like, "How dare you be here with Zoe? You know what she did after Nina. Don't do that. Don't meme her like that." Yeah, we still haven't forgiven her for that.
Lord.
I thought Zoe Saldana was good in this. I thought she looked great.
She did look great. She did look fantastic.
Yeah. It does.
And also another shout out to Timothy Olyphant because I did not. Well, I remember once I saw him in his name in the credits. I remember seeing his name in the preview, but I did not realize that was him. And I saw all of Santa Clarita Diet. Anyway,
it's just I think
he's gonna be in a new movie with Jennifer Lopez, and I actually want to see it. It's called.
Is it a romantic comedy?
It's kind of. Of course it is.
Shotgun Wedding. I've heard of that because I'm like, now J-Lo's just doing. Man.
Well, I mean,
she's in her right. She did them back in the day, but now she took a break and now she's revamped and she's doing them again.
Well, I'm just saying because she already did her Oscar movie for a while. She did Hustlers. I don't think she won anything. Did she?
No, but she was in the conversation.
Yeah. So she's like, I did that. Now I want to have some fun. I want to do some fun.
And that
stuff
movie looks so fun. It looks so funny, and I'm actually excited to see it. I think it comes out.
Should we review it?
I would review it. I don't know how you guys. No.
But what were you saying? Someone was saying something.
I was just gonna say, I think that's the thing. This movie had some great like moments for sure. Like the Margot when she shoots them in the face, that was funny. just all of Anya Taylor-Joy's scenes made me laugh. I loved her in this movie. Just the fact that John David Washington is apparently like a Golden Gloves champ because nobody could sneak him, and this man was out here punching people's lights out like crazy. He just like he's like, you may hit Christian Bale like that, you ain't gonna hit me like that. I'm like, y'all know who my daddy is. Don't come at me like that.
He knew how to bob and weave.
Just... I think the only like big main cast member person we haven't talked about yet is Rami Malek.
That's because I'm gonna be honest, he didn't really stand out for me. Like the rest of them, at least it was a shock factor to see him. Rami Malek, I was like, oh, okay.
I wish we had gotten more that way. Him turning out to be like one of the bad guys would have been more like shocking and or fulfilling. Rather, it was just like we had him for one scene and then, oh, I was behind some of this, or I was behind all of this.
They kind of made it clear who he was going to be in the film. Like you were like, oh yeah, he's got they gave him the bad guy vibe in this film. So I was like, not too much of a shocker when he came out.
Either plays weirdos or bad guys. That's his roles in almost everything he plays in. If he's a good guy, he's a weirdo. If he's a bad guy, he's a bad guy. Like that's where he plays. Because he's good at playing those roles. I have to give it to him. I think the only normal role he's ever done. I forget the movie right now, but he's only no, it's lost. Because I'm not gonna give him Bohemian Rhapsody. He plays Freddie Mercury like a weirdo too.
He was in Night of the Museum.
That's what I remember.
That's what it was. That was the one. Night in the Museum is the most normal thing he's ever done. And then he played a pharaoh in that.
I don't remember the pharaoh's name. I'm trying to think of it. Sorry. I got to think in my head.
The guy who played the detective, like the sidekick detective.
Oh yeah.
Is that Alessandro? Yeah, Alessandro Nivola. I thought he was hilarious when he was insulting both of them, and then after he was like, you got any of that like strong medicine, like stuff that makes you stronger? Like, I thought
I love to see when he breaks the
oh yeah.
I forget what it was, but when he's just, it's like, don't touch that. What is this? Well, I was just like, what are you doing, man? First of all, you're a racist and you're clumsy. It's just incompetent in every way, shape, and form.
You're racist and clumsy. You can only be one or the other.
I mean, I imagine so. I don't know. Listen, you can't be out here trying to put up the flaming cross and it keeps falling over because you can't hold it up.
Jesus Christ. No.
Just be in the house. Just be like, what the hell's going on out there? I mean, I get the statement, but they out here messing up. It's just got the sheets on fire and everything.
Took care of itself then.
Took care of itself. Problem.
You know what also kind of vibe I was getting from this film? Like the Naked Gun. Like it kept having that like comedy feel to that.
I can see that.
Like it just had that weird, like I almost expected Leslie Nelson to pop up for a second. It'd be like some weird ass role too.
Well, that's the thing. That's what I mean by like this movie feels, because Coen Brother movies and Wes Anderson movies, they do have that like strange humorous edge to them. And this movie feels like it was the same way. It had this weird, like the humor worked for me. I did laugh, but it was just one of those things where I'm like, given how dark this material is, if you like really step back and think about it, I mean, we're talking about a plot in which like people are getting euthanized in a freaking like hospital by like technically proto-Nazis, like before they became like the full Nazi party. And we're talking about a whole coup to take over the entire government. But we got time for yucks. Come on and over and get you some laughs real quick. It's weird at times.
Isn't that kind of what Jojo Rabbit was? I didn't see it, but
I didn't see it either. But at least Jojo Rabbit marketed itself as
like a comedy.
This movie markets itself as like this like fun adventure
with these dark overtones.
Yeah, with these extremely dark overtones. Again, T Swizzle got murdered.
Violently.
And then they had a flashback. They're like, yeah, that time she got murdered. Then flashback real quick, in case you forgot. Check this out. Just watch her get ran over again.
They just want you to know they took care of her.
I'm reading the production notes, and it says that Margot Robbie and Michael B. Jordan were initially announced to star, but then Michael B. Jordan dropped out because of scheduling conflicts. So that's when John David Washington.
I think he read the script properly, and then
I'm only laughing because everybody rumored that I forget what interview they did together. It was on some show, but everybody was making jokes saying that Margot Robbie was flirting with Michael B. Jordan because they haven't been in a movie together, but they were just like, he was there. And so she kept like, doing the like quote unquote flirting. Cause I'm like, I feel like she's just being friendly. But I don't know. I mean, he's an attractive man, and he was single at the time.
Well, I would flirt with him if I got the chance.
So I feel like, and so it just makes me laugh because it makes me think maybe Margot Robbie was like, what we should get? We should get Michael B. Jordan in here.
Hey, just a thought,
not for any particular reason,
right? Just throwing that out. I mean, it's just an idea.
I would just like to kiss it. I mean, star with Michael B. Jordan in a movie.
And then apparently Jennifer Lawrence was reportedly considered for Robbie's role, and Jamie Foxx was considered for Michael B. Jordan's role.
I could see Jamie Foxx also doing a great job as Harold.
I think Jamie Foxx is. Wait, how old is he? I feel like he's.
There definitely is an age difference. Yeah,
I feel like that would have been just like a little too much
but
older.
I don't know.
It would have matched Christmas. It would have matched Christian Bale's, like, because they would have been a similar age.
Yeah, but that would have fallen into the Margot Robbie.
Then him and Margot Robbie, it would have been.
Yeah, or even Jennifer Lawrence.
I mean, Will Smith did it with Focus.
Margot Robbie.
Yeah, him and Margot Robbie starred in that movie together, and he was like in his 50s at that time.
And that movie bombed.
Yeah, and it always gets like a little weird when you see like these male actors that are like in their 50s, like with these like 30 or 20-year-old. It's like it's like no.
But
close the age gap a little bit.
Jamie Foxx at least can clean up to look like he's aged younger than he is. But
I still think
I see your
Michael
point.
B. Jordan or John David Washington was a better choice. Yeah, I'm not like trying to go on Jamie Foxx's like acting. I think he's a very good actor, and I do enjoy his work.
Just maybe a little too old.
Just I feel like he's a little too old when you try to put him.
Plus, he's got another movie. He's got another movie to do. He's got They Clone Tyrone to do, which I'm excited to see on Netflix when that comes out.
Oh, I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
It looks so good. It's like this like blaxploitation film, like sci-fi film they're doing, which John Boyega, Teyonah Parris, and Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx plays a pimp. It looks good. It looks fun. It looks very funny. I'm excited. They dropped the trailer, I think, last month. And
he's
it
playing
looks good.
Slick Charles.
Mm-hmm.
Why would they not call it Slick Rick?
Because that's a rapper, and they would have to probably pay licenses to get that name.
Well, then like Slick Charles doesn't sound as slick.
Listen, when you a pimp, Charles, you can name yourself whatever you want. All right.
Fair enough. He was also in the Day Shift. Yeah, I mean
that was released like last month.
Yeah, that was the last thing I saw him in, and I love that. That was actually a funny film. I enjoyed that film way more than I thought. I was gonna watch it originally just for Snoop Dogg. I'm not gonna lie, I have like a weird love for Snoop Dogg. But like Day Shift ended up being like really funny, and what's the
Dave Franco.
Oh, Dave Franco. Dave Franco was actually super funny in this film. Like he still always plays that bumbling mess of a guy.
Yeah, I wasn't really into Dave Franco. I like Jamie Foxx. I thought he was good.
Oh no, Jamie Foxx is great. He always plays like the bumbling fool, which is David Franco's character, but like it was actually funny this time around. So it worked this time at least.
It's because Dave Franco's taking all of his brother's roles because James Franco can't act no more.
And he's taking Zac Efron's roles too because
his face got
Don't leave Zac Efron alone. He is playing in a new movie as we speak. Actually, it's coming out soon, called The Greatest Beer Run of All Time.
Sounds exciting. I hurt my cheeks doing that.
I mean, it's at least coming out in theaters. He's got that over Dave, like Netflix King over there.
Hey, Dave Franco was in If Beale Street Could Talk.
I know. I'm just talking shit.
You leave Dave Franco alone.
I feel like he seems like a really nice guy.
He does. He does seem like he's a good.
He's one of those people who seems like him and Daniel Radcliffe.
Oh, Daniel Radcliffe seems like he's like the coolest.
Yeah, he seems like
you could just hang out with him.
Yeah, right. He seems like he would like tell you a story when you're trying to get an autograph. He'd be like, "Yeah, let's get a picture." You're like, "Okay, cool."
Him and Jason Momoa. I don't know what it is, but I just feel like Jason Momoa is a good dude. You just can go get a beer with.
He seems nice, but he's too intimidating for me. I feel like
what, just because he's big? All right, I know a lot of big people, and they're like the nicest people I know.
Well, that and like I don't know, it's the vibe.
He is the vibe. All he wants to do is chill, go surf some waves, and drink some beers.
No, but he also feels like if he was like he would like grab somebody and just like squeeze him and like lift him up. When you also don't know that person very well, and it's like
I would enjoy that. I would just be like, "Hell yeah, brothers, bring it in!"
Then he'd do that like wiggle thing. You're like,
okay. I would try to pick him up, but it just wouldn't work. And I'd just be like, you know what? I'm just gonna squeeze you real tight.
And still, he would feel that. It would be like that slap, no movement.
We'd be big bro and little bro the whole time, just hanging out. Like, what's it like knowing Lisa Bonet?
They're divorced now. I don't think
they're divorced.
I know, but why are you bringing up the ex? That's like the worst.
I want to know. All right, I grew up on Cosby Show. Okay, I want to know what Lisa Bonet.
Hey, I know you're.
I'm never gonna meet this woman in real life.
Well, ask that when you talk to Lenny Kravitz too.
Yeah.
Just going through all
her exes.
Just go through all her exes and be like,
never meet her in person. Just meet all her exes. They're the only ones I can get to. Like, I can't talk to Lisa
because that's not creepy at all.
I think the best person you could do that to would be Zoe Kravitz because you can say, "Hey, how's your mom? What's your mom
doing? What's your mom like?"
Oh, now we're moving to her children. That's weirder.
And also, can you introduce me to Jason Momoa? I feel like y'all are still cool.
So
your
about
former
this
stepdad
actual movie. So about Amsterdam. Wrapping up the
final thoughts. This movie for me gets a solid C-. I don't think it's awful, and I expect to see it during award season, I'm sure, because the movie is getting a lot of buzz awards wise. I don't know how it's going to do as far as box office. No,
it's been doing horribly box office wise.
Yeah, it's getting a buzz for awards in regards to performances. I don't think it's going to get like best script, best feature film, all that stuff. But I think definitely. I think Margot Robbie probably will be nominated for Best Supporting Actress. I'm willing to bet Christian Bale will probably be nominated for Best Supporting or a Best Actor.
Wouldn't Margot Robbie be Best Actress?
Or yeah, Best Actress probably. Yeah. And then John David Washington would be Best Supporting Actor. Maybe.
I would like them to pick some random person from this film to be Best Supporting Actor, like
Zoe Saldana, Best Supporting Actor,
like Taylor Swift, or like hold on, even like Mike Myers, just out of nowhere. Like he didn't get a lot of screen time.
I want to see Taylor Swift be like, I got ran over for this movie. I should be nominated.
She got Best Supporting Actress.
Remember when Leonardo DiCaprio got mauled for a bear and he won an Oscar?
Finally. Yeah, I think that you probably will have a like Academy buzz because it's such a star-studded cast.
Mhm.
It has to.
And the performances are solid. It's not like the performances are bad. It's just that it's the direction. The direction and editing of this movie fails it. Because I think the script too isn't awful. It's just the way this movie is organized and the way it's structured doesn't work. Because it feels weird. Like I can't even fully explain it. It feels like they just drag things on, or they don't show you things they should show you in lieu of showing you things you don't need to see.
It's got a Suicide Squad vibe where it
The
feels
first
like,
Suicide Squad.
yeah, the first Suicide Squad where it shut up, Jerome.
No, no,
Where
no. I'm clarifying because I'm like, do you mean the Suicide Squad or Suicide Squad?
I would have said
I will say,
exaggeratingly where it feels like they had the film, they made it, and then they took it, chopped it up, and then reassembled it or something because they realized the first way didn't feel right. So like but it was like too close to release date. So they're like, all right, let's rearrange some stuff. Where it's just like I think you had a full film, but you cut it up and then just rearranged it and then released it, hoping for the best.
2023 coming to HBO Max, Amsterdam, the David O. Russell cut.
Oh no.
It's gonna make more sense.
3-hour long film. Good.
Also, this is Taylor Swift's first feature film since Cats.
Wait, wasn't she also? Oh no, never mind. That was a really old film.
But I feel like Taylor Swift should get a like
She's
so
better
we
in
can
this than in Cats.
Everybody was better than in Cats.
I'd like to see her actual acting because all of the stuff that she's been in, she's played like a supporting character, not just a supporting character, like a supporting character. She hasn't like
That's because I don't think
they
she
haven't
wants
given.
to act really. I think she like.
Then
I
why
think
she
she like
taking all these acting roles?
because it's good money, Jonathan. What do you mean? The music industry is not as lucrative as it used to be.
Yeah,
It's
but
like,
do you think if she starred in some like indie movie that got a lot of buzz and she was like the lead in it, and that would take her career to another level where
she
wasn't.
did. It's called the music videos for her most recent album.
No,
Those were good though.
And actually, she did direct a music. It just debuted at the Toronto Film Festival. A like short film starring Sadie Sink and Dylan O'Brien for one of her songs. So I think she likes doing the movie stuff. It's just that I think she just likes doing this stuff for fun. I don't think she wants to be like an actress, like be like a Lady Gaga or a Harry Styles. She just likes being in movies and she thinks it's fun.
Well, if she did one, she wouldn't have to commit to being an actress. She could do one and done. I think I would just like to see her in one. Like to see her in a starring role in one.
You know how hard it is to be like star in a movie. Like that'd probably be really hard.
I think it's kind of like a Jennifer Hudson thing going on, really, because so many people have forgotten her music career when they watch her in films, and not going back to Cats, when they realize how well she can sing, they're like, oh, that's right. Jennifer Hudson has an amazing music career behind her, but we get so caught up in her films. I think Taylor Swift probably is just, she doesn't want her to leave her music behind, because even with Lady Gaga, it almost felt like she was slipping when she started doing more acting. I think
she should do the Lady Gaga thing and do a musical as like her first breakout.
She did. It's called Cats.
I mean, star in one.
She's and it would be in a movie.
No, like
Jonathan, you're not.
I know what you mean.
I
know what you mean. I'm just messing with you.
But she should write it, and she should at least like be a part, like executive producer or something. She should like be a major part of it. And it shouldn't be based. It shouldn't be something that's already in existence. It should be something brand new. That's what Bruno Mars is doing. He's creating a musical film with Disney, and this is going to open up his acting door. So I think it's lucrative. It can.
I mean, it could. That's true. Anything's possible. I think you're wishing for something that Taylor Swift don't want, Jonathan. Like, I think
It
Taylor
would
Then
be
Swift
why
so
is she
good
in the
at it.
damn movie Amsterdam?
because she likes being in movies. Why is
You
like there's a
crafted this
lot-
narrative for her.
I'm just saying, there's a lot of celebrities who just like being in movies, but they don't want to be like mega famous, or don't want to take it that seriously. Like,
Do you
you know what I
know
mean?
what's-
There's some
Did
people
you
who like
just
being
did
in
you
movies.
just did you just say that Taylor Swift does not want to be mega famous? The woman is already mega
What I
famous
mean
as
is
it is.
mega famous for being an actor. She's mega famous for being Taylor Swift, the music star. And she will forever be that because she loves doing that more than she likes acting. I think acting is fun for her. Music is what her career is. So that is where she will put all her
remember
time.
she was only in like 20 minutes of this film, 25 minutes.
I'm just saying.
Oh, focusing too hard. And also, Idris Elba's from Cats still gives me nightmares. Just putting that out there.
I love that you just
Which
jumped
I
over.
I was Cats came to the Pantages here in LA. And I could have gotten free tickets to it, but I had my show there were 2 nights that I could go. I had my show both nights.
He had his show. He just didn't want to see Cats.
You want me to send you behind the scenes
you damn right.
Instagram
I want
tonight?
some Cats. I want to go see Cats.
Do you want to see? I don't know if I would
I
want
watch
to see
the musical of Cats. I watch the play is fine. It's the movie that's trash. The musical itself is actually pretty.
there's
pretty
still
awesome.
like people dancing around in spandex, like fake fur and cat makeup. Like
I mean,
I
listen,
still look. I have openly expressed my fear of furries. That feels very furriness to me, and like I'm sure they are wonderful actors. I'm sure it is a wonderful film. It is probably scripted well, but I would probably not be able to sit through that film. Because again, Idris Elba gives me nightmares.
No, the musical. Idris Elba ain't there. At least we hope not.
I don't know anymore. Jonathan,
Surprise
what's your grade?
performance. I'm gonna have to give this movie a B plus. I enjoyed it a lot. We talked about some of the things we talked about some of the plot issues. Maybe reordering the plot could have served it well. But overall, the grade is predominantly given by me because of the aesthetic. I love the visuals. I need to create some sort of like mood board on my wall with these visuals or something like yeah, I just had a fun time watching it overall. Every time someone would pop up on screen, I was like, oh yeah, that's right, they're in this movie. I also noticed that since obviously there's the motif with the eyes, like with his eye continuously falling out, like close up on the eyes a lot. I noticed that when someone would be introduced, you would focus on the camera would focus on their face, but mostly their eyes. Like everyone's eyes in this movie was, you can, and I don't notice this with a lot of movies, but you could tell the exact color of their eyes. Normally I feel like with movies, you tend to focus more on the mouth, focus on when they're speaking. But with this, I was focusing a lot on the eyes. And I wonder if that was intentional. Probably was, because that was such a big motif of the movie. But I thought that was really interesting that they focused a lot on the eyes of the cast members.
You said eyes so many times in the last like 2 minutes.
eyes. Sequel to bodies.
Yes, right.
Sorry, what did you
Alex,
say, Alex?
What's your grade? What are you doing?
I give this movie a D. I mean, I did like the actors.
Oh, I thought you were gonna
but,
go full F. All right.
No, like the actors were good, and I mean, if anything's gonna win an award for this film, it's definitely gonna be like costume design. Like,
Ooh, I don't know. Wakanda Forever is coming out this year. That's gonna be a hard one to beat.
That's true. But like, if anything, I would say like at least costume design's getting nominated. But like the movie just fell so flat for me, and they were trying so hard. And the fact that you can also feel so many director styles from this film that makes it feel more clumped together of something they were trying to claim, but it's so many other people's styles push into one, and it's just like, well, who were you trying to mimic? Were you trying to mimic somebody? Like, what was your goal here? Which was not. I'm disappointed because this film again had so many good lessons, and it was such a distinct time frame, and it could have been such an interesting and good film. And again, the noir thing, I bring it up again because that was such a good selling point for this film, and they did it so well. But it was such a bad plot. It was so badly, the flow was just awful, and just like everything was like, it did no matter, there was no saving grace to this film for me. It was a bad film. I won't give it a flat out F because, again, the costume designs and the actors all acted very well. They did exactly what their character was going to do. I just wish they had been given a better script for it.
Also, I just have to mention this. Did anyone else catch randomly that Drake is an executive producer of this movie?
No.
Yes, it's in the credits. It says executive producers Drake and Adele Future Noor. And then I looked at the IMDb, and sure enough, that is the Drake. Hotline Bling Drake. He's an executive producer of the
He
movie.
heard T Swizzle was in the movie, so he's just like,
So
I gotta
they
get me a
also
piece
got like
of this.
weird producers in this film. Like, what the fuck is going on?
But to be fair, Drake has been doing a lot of producing lately. He produces Euphoria, like he executive produces on Euphoria.
Euphoria has that
See,
vibe.
but that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the hell is going on here? Why is he involved in this particular project?
I'm expecting him to be producing the Weeknd's project then on HBO Max or HBO in general when that comes out, because that show looks like something Drake could be into. And also, it's the Weeknd, like the Drake, the Drake, everything that the Weeknd does. I feel like so.
He does. He's like a big fan of him or something.
Well, he's the one who put him on. Like, if there was no Drake, who knows if we get the Weeknd as like a famous
I feel
star.
like we would still get the Weeknd. The Weeknd's so good. Like he's. I feel like somebody else would have brought up the Weeknd.
Maybe.
I mean,
I could see that. I mean, I was like, yeah, because I think he still had a unique sound when he first came out. I wasn't really into it as much, but I did recognize, I was like, this is something different. This is totally different. This is gonna blow up like crazy.
Anyway, that Drake is that the Drake is
the Drake,
an executive producer on this film.
That's gonna be what his new album's gonna be.
the Drake.
I hate it. I just hate it. I hate it all.
And with that, we will see y'all next week. Have a great week.
What is that? What are you doing there? What was that slow goodbye there?
If you enjoyed this podcast and want to watch more, click the playlist to your right. Or if you want to see more of what we're doing, such as mini reviews, book reviews, and gaming, click the link to our channel and don't forget to subscribe when you're there. If you prefer to listen to this podcast, it's streaming on all of your favorite podcast platforms. Thanks for watching.